All right, so you're thinking about a career as a Customs and Excise Officer and are prepping for that interview.
That's awesome.
We're going to take a deep dive into RoleCatcher's guides to give you a little bit of the inside track
Sounds good.
on what hiring managers are really looking for.
Right.
Okay, so first let's paint a picture for our listener.
Sure.
What does a Customs and Excise Officer actually DO on a daily basis?
So you're at a busy port. Shipments are arriving from all over the world, and you're making sure that all those shipments are legitimate.
Okay.
All the rules are followed and the correct taxes are paid.
So like a detective, but for goods and trade.
Exactly. You're examining all the documents, you're inspecting shipments, and sometimes you're even using very high-tech equipment to detect contraband.
So cool.
It's a fast-paced environment, and you're constantly using regulations and your judgment.
Intense, but cool.
Yeah.
And speaking of cool, RoleCatcher's guides mention the job market for this role.
Yes. The job outlook is projected to grow by 3% between 2019 and 2029. So that suggests a stable and potentially growing field.
Great news.
Yeah, good news for anybody considering this as a career.
All right, so we've got the basics down. Now let's get into those interview questions.
Okay.
What's the first one they might throw your way?
What inspired you to pursue a career in Customs and Excise?
Straightforward,
Yeah.
but I bet there's more to it than just saying,
Right.
I like rules.
Absolutely. They're looking for genuine passion and a deeper understanding of the role.
So maybe like tell a story.
Yeah. Did a specific event spark your interest? Was there a news story about a major smuggling bust?
Right?
Or did you have a family connection to international trade?
Or even a personal experience that kind of opened your eyes to this.
Tell a story and reveal your motivation.
Right.
And this is where RoleCatcher's AI can be really helpful.
Okay.
The AI can analyze your answer and identify areas where you can add more detail,
Okay.
make it more engaging, or even suggest a completely different way of framing your story.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's like having a storytelling coach.
Exactly.
Okay, so moving on.
Yes.
Another question.
What are the key responsibilities of a Customs and Excise Officer?
This one kind of seems like it's begging for a boring list.
It does.
How do you make your answer stand out?
Well, you demonstrate true understanding and don't just recite a memorized list.
Okay.
So start with the core duties, like reviewing import and export documents.
Right.
Ensuring they comply with regulations, but then take it a step further.
I like where this is going. You mean an example?
So if you mention calculating taxes and duties,
Oh, okay.
don't stop there. Explain what this means in practice.
All right.
Talk about different types of taxes,
Okay.
how you use specialized software to calculate them accurately,
Right.
and the importance of ensuring proper revenue collection for the government.
It's about showing you've actually thought about the practical application
Yes.
of those responsibilities.
Precisely. And RoleCatcher can analyze job descriptions and identify the specific skills employers are looking for. So this can help you tailor your answer to highlight the most relevant aspects of your experience.
That's incredibly useful.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so you've nailed those first two questions.
Okay.
What's next?
Be ready for how do you stay up to date with changes in customs and excise regulations?
Ooh. This one is all about showing that you're a lifelong learner.
Absolutely. Customs laws and regulations are constantly evolving.
Yep, they are.
You need to adapt.
For sure.
So mention specific resources that you use, like
Yes.
industry publications, online databases, professional development courses.
What about professional associations?
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like joining one of those shows real commitment.
Yeah, like mentioning memberships in organizations like the National Customs Brokers and Forwarders Association of America.
Yeah.
It demonstrates that you're serious about your career and you're connected to the wider industry.
Okay, so we've covered passion, understanding,
Yes.
and adaptability.
Yep.
What else are the interviewers looking for?
They want to see how you handle challenging situations. So expect a question like, can you describe a time when you had to enforce customs laws in a difficult situation?
Ooh, story time. But what kind of story are they hoping to hear?
They want to see your problem-solving skills, your ability to stay calm under pressure, and your commitment to upholding the law.
So, like, instead of just saying, I'm a rule follower,
Yeah.
you need to actually
Yeah.
talk about a specific instance
Exactly.
where you had to make a tough decision based on those rules.
Maybe you suspected somebody was trying to smuggle prohibited items.
Right.
Or you discovered a discrepancy in a shipment's documentation.
Oh,
Walk them through the steps you took to assess the situation, gather evidence, and take appropriate action.
okay.
Okay.
So it's not just about what you did, but how you did it.
Exactly.
Okay. And what about those ethical dilemmas that customs and excise officers sometimes face?
Yeah, like how do you address a question about fairness and impartiality?
A question like, how do you ensure fairness and impartiality in your enforcement of customs laws is designed to assess your integrity and judgment. So they want to make sure you're not going to play favorites or let personal biases cloud your decisions.
Exactly here. You can talk about your commitment to following established procedures, treating everyone with respect,
Right.
and always basing your decisions on the facts and the law, even when it's difficult.
That's where having a strong moral compass really comes in handy.
Absolutely. And remember, RoleCatcher's AI can help you tailor your answers to each specific job you apply for.
Yep.
By analyzing the job description, it can highlight which skills and qualities are most important to that particular employer.
So you can really fine-tune your responses
Yes.
to make sure you're hitting all the right notes.
Exactly. It's like having a personalized interview strategy guide.
All right, we've covered some tough questions so far.
Yeah.
What other curveballs might they throw our way?
Okay. They might ask you about a time you had to collaborate with other law enforcement agencies to achieve a common goal.
Oh, this is all about teamwork.
Yes, showing that you can work effectively with others. Customs and excise officers often work with other agencies like Border Patrol or Homeland Security.
Makes sense.
So think of a specific example where you had to coordinate efforts, share information, or overcome challenges together.
So it's not just about doing your own job well, but being a team player
Exactly.
and contributing to a larger mission.
And don't forget to highlight your communication skills.
Oh?
Did you effectively communicate your findings? Actively listen to the perspectives of others and work collaboratively to reach a solution.
These are essential qualities in any law enforcement role.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to mention any challenges you faced during the collaboration and how you overcame them. It shows that you're resilient and adaptable.
That's a great point.
Right.
All right, so we talked about teamwork. What about leadership?
Yes.
Even if you're not applying for a management position,
Right.
they'll want to know that you have that potential.
Absolutely. So they might ask you something like, how do you ensure that your team is motivated and engaged in their work?
This one feels a little tricky if you haven't had a formal leadership role.
It is.
How should you approach it?
Think about times when you've taken initiative, motivated others, or helped create a positive and productive work environment.
Okay.
Maybe you mentored a new colleague, spearheaded a project, or volunteered for a challenging task.
So it's about showcasing those leadership qualities even in smaller ways.
Exactly. And remember, even if you haven't had a formal leadership role,
Right.
you can still draw on experiences from group projects, volunteer work, or even sports teams. Leadership skills can be developed in all sorts of settings.
Okay, so we've covered passion, understanding, adaptability, problem-solving, teamwork, and even leadership.
Wow.
What else should we be prepared for?
They might ask you a question about handling confidential information and maintaining the trust of stakeholders.
This is huge, right? Integrity is paramount in this profession.
Absolutely.
They want to know they can trust you with sensitive information.
So be prepared to discuss how you handle confidential information, the importance of maintaining professional boundaries, and the steps you take to protect sensitive data.
So it's not just about saying I'm trustworthy.
Right.
I need to give specific examples of how I've demonstrated that trustworthiness.
Precisely. Maybe you followed strict data security protocols in a previous role, or you went above and beyond to protect someone's privacy. Think about situations where you've demonstrated discretion and a commitment to ethical conduct.
It's about showing that you understand the weight of the responsibility you're being entrusted with.
And remember, RoleCatcher's platform can be a valuable resource in understanding the specific values and culture of the organizations you're applying to. You can research potential employers and get insights into their mission values and company culture.
That's a huge advantage.
Yeah.
It's like having a secret weapon
Yep.
that helps you align your answers with what they're looking for.
Absolutely.
Okay, we've covered a lot here. We've talked about passion, understanding adaptability, problem-solving, teamwork, leadership, ethics, and even confidentiality.
That's a lot.
It is. But before we move on, let's circle back to RoleCatcher's AI-powered feedback feature.
Okay.
Remind us how that works
Okay.
and how it can help us ace those interviews.
So imagine you've spent hours crafting those perfect answers
Right.
to those really difficult questions. You feel good,
Yeah.
but you're still a little bit nervous.
I think we all are
Yeah.
nervous before an interview.
But what if you could get personalized feedback on your responses before you even step foot in the interview room?
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
That'd be a total game changer.
That's exactly what RoleCatcher's AI offers.
Okay.
It analyzes your responses and provides tailored suggestions for improvement.
Like what kinds of suggestions does it tell you if you're rambling or using too much jargon?
It can identify areas where you might be getting off track,
Right.
using language that's too technical, or not providing enough concrete examples to support your claims.
So it's like having a second set of eyes
Yeah.
to catch those little things
Exactly.
that we might miss.
And it can even help you tailor your answers to each specific job that you apply for,
That's very cool.
ensuring that you're hitting all the right notes for that particular role and organization.
Okay.
It takes the guesswork out of interview prep.
I love it.
And it can really give you that boost of confidence that you need to walk into that interview room and just shine.
So if you're serious about acing that Customs and Excise Officer interview,
Yes.
RoleCatcher's AI feedback is definitely worth checking out.
Absolutely.
Sounds like having a secret weapon in your interview arsenal.
I like that.
Okay, so we've aced the interview prep.
Yes.
What happens after we get the job?
Okay.
What does career progression look like in this field?
Well, let's imagine you've landed the job and you're starting your career as a Customs and Excise Officer. You'll likely begin at an entry-level position, assisting senior officers, reviewing documents for basic compliance.
Yeah.
Maybe even helping with inspections.
Like an apprenticeship.
Exactly. You're building a solid foundation and gaining valuable experience.
Love it.
Then, as you progress, you might move up to a junior officer role,
Okay.
taking on more responsibility and more complex tasks.
Like what kinds of responsibilities?
You'd be conducting thorough reviews of import and export documents, making sure they meet all those intricate regulations. You'd be calculating taxes and duties with precision, ensuring that everything is accounted for, and maybe even mentoring those entry-level officers, sharing your expertise.
Sounds like a challenging but rewarding step up.
It is.
So what does it take to reach the top of the ladder and become a senior Customs and Excise Officer?
It's a combination of experience, expertise, and leadership skills.
Okay.
At a senior level, you'd be overseeing the entire customs process at your assigned post, making sure everything runs smoothly and efficiently. You'd be coordinating with different agencies, making key decisions, and providing guidance to junior officers.
Wow, that sounds like a high-pressure role.
It is.
A lot of responsibility.
Yeah, but it's also incredibly rewarding.
Yeah.
You're playing a vital role in protecting our borders, facilitating international trade, and keeping the global economy running smoothly.
You got to stay on top of those ever-changing regulations, though.
Absolutely. Continuous learning is essential in this field.
Yeah, for sure.
Attending conferences, reading industry publications, taking professional development courses, it's all part of the job.
So it's not just about climbing the ladder, but constantly growing and developing your skills.
Precisely. And that's where RoleCatcher comes in handy.
Okay.
Their platform can help you map out potential career paths and identify growth opportunities. They can even suggest relevant certifications or training programs that can boost your qualifications.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
It's like having a personalized career GPS.
It is. Speaking of certifications, there are quite a few that can give you a leg up in this field.
Like what?
The Certified Customs Specialist, or CCS, the Certified Export Specialist, or CES, the Certified International Trade Professional, or CITP, and the Certified Global Business Professional, or CGBP.
Those are a mouthful.
They are, but these certifications demonstrate your expertise in specialized areas of customs and international trade.
Right.
Having them on your resume can make you a more competitive candidate for promotions or specialized roles.
Okay, so fast forward a bit.
Okay.
You've reached the top of your game as a senior Customs and Excise Officer.
Yeah.
What happens next?
Retire to a beach.
That's always an option.
Yeah, but here's what's fascinating.
Okay.
The skills that you've developed in this role are incredibly transferable to other industries.
Wait, really? I always thought of customs as a pretty specialized field.
It is, but think about the core skills that you've honed: analytical thinking, attention to detail, communications, problem solving, negotiation, leadership. These are highly valued in a wide range of professions.
I never thought about it that way. Give me an example of how those skills could translate to another field.
Let's say you're transitioning to a compliance role
Okay.
in a multinational corporation. Your experience with customs regulations, your attention to detail, and your ability to navigate complex legal frameworks would be incredibly valuable.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
So even if someone decides to explore a different career path down the road,
Yeah.
their experience as a Customs and Excise officer can be a huge asset.
Absolutely. It shows potential employers that you're a highly skilled and experienced professional who can handle responsibility, make tough decisions, and thrive in a fast-paced environment.
That's great to know.
Yeah.
So even if you're just starting out in this field,
Yeah,
it's never too early to think about your long-term career goals
absolutely.
and how those skills can translate to different opportunities.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher can be your trusted guide every step of the way,
Love it.
helping you explore your options and make informed decisions about your career path.
Okay. I think we've covered a lot of ground here. We've gone deep into the interview process,
We have.
explored career paths,
Uh-huh.
and even uncovered some hidden gems about transferable skills.
Yeah.
But before we move on to the next part of our deep dives,
Okay.
there's one more area I'd like to touch on.
Sure.
Confidentiality.
Yes.
I imagine that's a big deal in this line of work.
You're absolutely right. Customs and excise officers handle sensitive information all the time.
Makes sense.
Think about it, financial records, personal data details about shipments.
Right.
It's all confidential. So how do you convince the interviewer that you can be trusted with that kind of information?
That's a great question. What advice would you give to someone facing that question in an interview?
Demonstrate discretion and professionalism.
Okay.
Make it clear that you understand the importance of protecting sensitive information and that you would never divulge it to unauthorized individuals.
So no gossiping about cases at the water cooler?
No, definitely not.
Okay.
So it's about more than just keeping your mouth shut. You need to show that you take active steps to safeguard confidential data.
Like what?
Mention that you always follow established security protocols.
Oh.
Whether it's using strong passwords, encrypting sensitive files, or logging out of systems when you're not using them, these are all basic but essential practices.
Right.
And don't forget about physical security, too. Make sure sensitive documents are stored securely, and be mindful of who has access to your workspace.
So it's about being vigilant and aware of your surroundings at all times.
Precisely. And here's another important point. Make sure you understand and comply with any relevant data privacy regulations.
Oh, those can be tricky,
They can be.
especially in the world of international trade.
But it's crucial to show the interviewer that you're aware of them and that you take them seriously.
So it's not just about protecting information from prying eyes, but it's about respecting people's privacy and complying with the law.
Exactly. And here's a pro tip. Consider sharing an anecdote about a time you had to handle confidential information with discretion and sensitivity.
Okay, that's a good one.
Maybe a time you had to deal with a sensitive case or a situation where someone's personal information was at risk.
Yeah.
It's about demonstrating that you can be trusted to do the right thing, even when faced with difficult circumstances.
It shows that you have a strong sense of responsibility
Exactly.
and that you understand the weight of the trust that's being placed in you.
Exactly. And that's something that interviewers are always looking for.
Okay, I think we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive. We've tackled some tough interview questions,
Yeah, we have.
explored career paths,
Uh-huh.
and even uncovered some hidden gems about transferable skills.
Yes.
But before we move on to the next part,
Okay.
I'd love to hear your final thoughts. What's the one piece of advice you would give to someone who's considering a career as a Customs and Excise officer?
I think the most important thing is to be prepared for a challenging but incredibly rewarding career.
What do you mean by challenge?
This is a field where attention to detail is paramount. You'll be dealing with complex regulations, high-stakes situations, and a lot of responsibility. It's not for the faint of heart,
Right.
but it's also a career that can be incredibly fulfilling.
Yeah.
You will be playing a vital role in protecting our borders, facilitating international trade, and ensuring the smooth flow of goods and services.
And you'll be making a real difference in the world.
Absolutely. So if you're someone who thrives on challenge, enjoys working with people, and has a strong sense of integrity, then this might just be the perfect career for you.
I love that. So what does this all mean for you, our listener?
It means that a career as a Customs and Excise officer is not just about catching smugglers. It's about ensuring fair trade, protecting our borders, and keeping the global economy running.
It's about being a gatekeeper, a guardian of international commerce.
Exactly.
And it's about making a real difference in the world. But here's something to ponder as we move on to the next part of our deep dive. How would you handle the pressure of making those split-second decisions that could have huge financial and legal ramifications?
That's a great question to think about.
It really gets to the heart of what it means to be a Customs and Excise Officer.
It really does challenge you to think on your feet, doesn't it?
Yep.
You're constantly assessing risk, weighing potential consequences, and making decisions that impact businesses, individuals, and even national security.
That's a lot of pressure.
It is.
But that's also what makes this job so exciting.
Yeah, I agree.
And speaking of exciting,
Yes.
let's talk more about those career paths.
Okay.
We touched on it earlier,
Mm-hmm.
but I'd love to dive deeper into what progression looks like in this field.
Absolutely.
Remember that ladder analogy we used earlier?
Yes.
You start at the entry-level rung, mastering the basics, assisting senior officers,
Mm-hmm.
and gradually taking on more responsibility,
Right.
like a customs officer in training.
Exactly.
What does that next step up to junior officer look like?
Think of it as leveling up. You're no longer just assisting, you're leading the charge on reviewing import and export documents,
Right.
making sure those complex regulations are met.
So it's like becoming a master of those intricate rules and regulations.
Exactly. You're calculating taxes and duties with expert precision,
Okay.
ensuring everything is properly accounted for, and maybe even mentoring those newer recruits, sharing your hard-earned knowledge.
Sounds like a crucial role.
It is.
Ensuring the smooth flow of goods across borders
Yeah.
while also upholding the law.
Yeah.
And as you continue to gain experience and expertise,
Mm-hmm.
you might find yourself aiming for that top rung,
Yes.
Senior Customs and Excise Officer.
A lofty goal.
Now that sounds impressive.
It is.
What kind of responsibilities come with that title?
Picture this. You're overseeing the entire customs process at your assigned post, like
Okay.
a conductor leading an orchestra.
I like that analogy.
You're coordinating with various agencies,
Okay.
making critical decisions that impact international trade,
Right.
and mentoring a team of officers.
So it demands not just expertise,
Right.
but strong leadership skills as well.
Absolutely. You're not just enforcing regulations.
Right.
You're leading a team, shaping the culture, and ensuring everything runs smoothly and efficiently.
And you have to constantly stay ahead of the curve
Yes.
when it comes to those ever-changing regulations.
You got it. Continuous learning is your secret weapon in this field.
Mhm.
Attending conferences, diving into industry publications, and to taking professional development courses. It's all part of staying sharp and ensuring you're at the top of your game.
This career path is a constant journey of growth and development,
It is.
which is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
And speaking of growth, didn't RoleCatcher have some cool tools
they do.
to help you map out those career paths?
They do. Their platform can be incredibly helpful for visualizing those potential career trajectories.
Okay.
It's like having a personalized roadmap,
Right.
guiding you towards your goals.
I like it. And they even recommend certifications
Yes.
and training programs, right?
Yeah.
Like those alphabet soup certifications we talked about earlier.
Exactly. Think of them as badges of honor, showcasing your specialized knowledge and expertise.
I like it.
The CCS, the CES, the CITP, the CGBP, these certifications can give you a competitive edge when it comes to promotions or specialized roles.
Powerful addition
They are.
to any aspiring customs and excise officer's toolkit.
Absolutely. And RoleCatcher can help you navigate that world,
Okay.
recommending which certifications align with your aspirations and even connecting you with resources to pursue them.
All right. So let's say you've climbed that ladder,
Okay.
reached the peak of your career
Yeah.
as a senior customs and excise officer.
Right.
What happens next?
What happens
Is
next?
retirement the only option?
Not at all.
Okay.
Here's what's fascinating.
Cool.
The skills you've honed in this role are surprisingly transferable.
You mean they're not just limited to the world of customs?
Exactly.
That's interesting.
Think about it. You've developed analytical thinking,
Mm-hmm.
meticulous attention to detail,
Right.
strong communication and problem-solving abilities,
Okay.
negotiation skills, and even leadership qualities.
Yeah.
These are valuable assets in any field.
Wow. I never considered that before.
It's true.
Give me an example of how those skills could translate to a different career path.
Let's say you're interested in transitioning to a compliance role in a multinational corporation.
Okay.
Your experience with navigating complex customs regulations, ensuring meticulous adherence to rules, and your sharp attention to detail would be highly sought after.
So those years spent mastering the intricacies of international trade wouldn't go to waste.
Not at all. They'd be a testament to your ability to handle complex challenges,
Okay.
ensure compliance, and navigate intricate legal frameworks, valuable skills in any corporate setting.
That's really encouraging to know.
It is.
So even if someone decides to explore a different path down the line,
Yeah.
their time as a customs and excise officer wouldn't be a dead end.
Exactly. It's an investment in a skill set that can open doors to a variety of opportunities.
I like it.
Demonstrating your adaptability and a willingness to embrace new challenges.
That's an inspiring perspective.
Thank you.
So even if you're just starting out in this field,
Yeah.
it's never too early to think about your long-term goals.
That's right.
And how those valuable skills can translate into a fulfilling and diverse career journey.
Absolutely. And RoleCatcher can be your trusted companion along the way,
Right.
helping you explore those options and make informed decisions about your future.
Okay, I'm loving this journey of discovery.
Me too.
But let's circle back to those interview questions for a moment.
Okay.
We've covered a lot of ground,
Yeah.
but there's one that often trips people up.
Which one is that?
It's the one about ensuring that your actions align with the agency's mission and values.
Ah, yes, that word.
I know it's important to show that you're not just following rules blindly,
Right.
but how do you actually answer that question
Okay.
in a way that really impresses the interviewer?
It's all about demonstrating that you've done your research and that you genuinely connect with the agency's core principles. Don't just regurgitate their mission statement. Show them you understand the why behind it.
So I need to do my homework
Yeah,
and really delve into what the agency stands for.
exactly. Once you understand their values, connect them to your own experiences.
Okay.
Have you faced situations where you had to uphold those values? How have they shaped your decision-making process?
I see.
Yeah.
So it's about showing that you're not just a good fit for the job,
Yeah.
but also a good fit for the organization's culture.
Precisely. And remember, stories are powerful. Instead of just saying you're honest,
Right.
share a specific instance where you demonstrated integrity,
Right.
even when it was difficult.
Showcasing those values in action.
Yes.
Proving they're more than just words on a page.
You got it. And don't forget, RoleCatcher can be your secret weapon here.
Right.
Their platform can provide valuable insights into the specific values and culture of different organizations, allowing you to tailor your responses accordingly.
So it's like having a behind-the-scenes look
Yeah.
at the agency's soul.
Exactly.
All right, I'm feeling much more confident about
Yeah.
tackling that question now.
Great.
But let's shift gears for a moment
Okay.
and talk about a topic that's closely related to ethics.
Okay.
Confidentiality.
Yes.
I imagine handling sensitive information is a daily reality
It is.
in this line of work.
Customs and Excise Officers are entrusted with a wealth of confidential data.
Yeah.
Financial records, personal information, details about shipments. It's all highly sensitive.
It is.
So how do you convince the interviewer that you're the kind of person they can trust with that level of responsibility?
That's a great question.
It is.
What advice would you give to
Oh.
someone facing that question in an interview?
First and foremost, exude discretion and professionalism.
Okay.
Make it crystal clear that you understand the gravity of protecting sensitive information and that you would never divulge it to anyone unauthorized. It's about being a vault, not a gossip column.
Definitely. But it goes beyond just keeping your lips sealed, right?
It does.
You need to show that you take proactive steps to safeguard that data.
Absolutely highlight your adherence to security protocols.
Okay.
Strong passwords, encryption, logging out of systems, all those essential digital hygiene practices.
Wow.
And don't forget about physical security as well.
Right.
Safeguarding documents, being mindful of your surroundings. It all adds up.
So it's about being a security champion,
It is.
both in the digital and physical realms.
Precisely. And here's another crucial point. Demonstrate your awareness of data privacy regulations.
Yes.
Those rules aren't just suggestions.
Right.
They're that backbone of responsible data handling.
I can imagine those regulations can get pretty complex, especially in the international world of trade.
They can be.
Really?
Showing that you're not just aware of them, but that you understand their importance and diligently adhere to them speaks volumes about your commitment to responsible data management.
So it's not just about protecting information, it's about respecting people's privacy and upholding the law.
Exactly. And here's a pro tip. Consider sharing a brief anecdote about a time when you had to handle confidential information with the utmost discretion and sensitivity.
That's a great idea. It brings those abstract principles to life, showing that you can walk the walk.
Right. Maybe you encountered a situation where someone's personal information was at risk, or you had to navigate a sensitive case with discretion. Sharing those real-world examples demonstrates your commitment to ethical conduct.
It paints a picture of someone who can be trusted, someone who understands the weight of that responsibility.
Exactly. And that's a quality that any interviewer would find reassuring.
I think we've covered a lot of ground in this second part of our deep dive. We've explored the intricacies of career progression, uncovered the transferable power of those customs-honed skills, and delved into the ethical aspects of handling confidential information. But before we wrap things up, there's one more question I'd love to ask you.
I'm all ears.
If you could give one piece of advice to someone who's on the fence about pursuing a career as a Customs and Excise Officer, what would it be?
That's a fantastic question. I'd say if you're looking for a career that's both challenging and immensely rewarding, if you're driven by integrity and a desire to make a real difference in the world, then this path might just be your calling.
I love that. It's about more than just a job. It's about contributing to something bigger than yourself.
Exactly. You're not just enforcing rules, you're protecting borders, facilitating trade, and ensuring the smooth flow of goods that impact people's lives every single day.
That's a powerful perspective. So for our listener who's been with us on this deep dive, what does this all mean for them?
It means that a career as a Customs and Excise Officer is more than just a job. It's an opportunity to be a guardian of international commerce, to uphold the law, and to make a tangible difference in the world.
And it's a career that demands integrity, adaptability, and a constant desire to learn and grow. But here's something to ponder as we head into the final part of our deep dive.
I'm intrigued. What is it?
Given all that we've discussed, what aspects of this role resonate most with you personally?
That's a great question to reflect on. It really gets to the heart of what motivates you and what you're looking for in a career. It does, doesn't it? It really encourages you to think about what's important to you and what you're looking for in a career. But before we get too philosophical, let's bring it back to some practical advice for our listeners.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about interview prep and career paths, but what about actually landing the job?
Right, like showcasing our passion, problem-solving abilities, and unwavering integrity. What else can we do to seal the deal?
Exactly. Those are the key ingredients for a standout interview. But here's a secret weapon you can add to your arsenal.
Okay, I'm listening.
RoleCatcher's AI-powered feedback feature.
Oh yeah, we mentioned that earlier. Remind me how that works.
Okay, so imagine this. You've spent hours prepping for this interview, crafting these amazing answers to those really tough questions. You feel ready, but there's still those pre-interview jitters.
Oh, absolutely. Those pre-interview jitters are real.
Yeah, for sure. But what if you could get feedback on your responses before you even step foot in the interview room?
That would be amazing. Like a sneak peek behind the curtain.
That's exactly what RoleCatcher's AI offers. It's like having a personal coach in your pocket. You just input your answers, and the AI analyzes them and provides tailored suggestions for improvement.
So cool. What kind of suggestions does it tell you if you're rambling or using too much jargon?
Absolutely. It can identify areas where you might be getting off track or using language that's too technical or not giving enough specific examples to back up your claims.
It's like having a second set of eyes to catch those things that we often miss.
Exactly. And it can even help tailor your answers to each specific job you apply for, ensuring you're hitting all the right notes for that role and organization.
That's incredible. So it's not just generic feedback, it's specific to the job I'm going for.
Exactly. It takes all the guesswork out of interview prep and gives you that confidence to walk in knowing you're putting your best foot forward.
I'm sold. If you're serious about acing that interview, RoleCatcher's AI feedback is the way to go. It's like having a secret weapon. But let's move beyond the tools for a minute. What does it really take to thrive in this career?
You hit the nail on the head. It's more than just skills and knowledge. It's about having the right mindset and passion for this kind of work.
I see. What do you mean? What qualities do you need to really succeed as a Customs and Excise Officer?
Well, think about the challenges we've talked about, making tough decisions, navigating those complex regulations, staying alert to potential threats. It takes a certain kind of person to not just survive, but to really thrive in that kind of environment.
So being able to handle the pressure, think on your feet, and stay calm in a crisis.
Yes, but it's also about having a strong moral compass, a commitment to fairness, and a genuine desire to serve and protect.
Integrity, making sure your actions are always lining up with the agency's mission and values.
Absolutely. And remember, it's not just about catching the bad guys. It's also about making sure legitimate trade flows smoothly, protecting our economy, and upholding the law.
Being a guardian, a gatekeeper, a champion for ethical trade practices.
I love that. It's a demanding role, but one that offers a lot of rewards.
Speaking of rewards, I think it's time we circle back to that question I asked you earlier. What aspects of this role resonate most with you?
Oh, that's a great question. For me, it's the combination of being intellectually challenged and having a real-world impact. I get to use my brain, analyze information, solve problems, and make decisions that actually have an effect on the world around me.
You're not just stuck behind a desk pushing papers. You're out there making a difference.
Exactly. It keeps me on my toes, always learning and growing. And to me, that's incredibly rewarding.
Okay, so as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of Customs and Excise Officers, what's the key takeaway for our listeners who might be considering this career path?
I would say do your research, prepare well, and go for it. This is a challenging but very rewarding career with so many opportunities to learn, grow, and make a real difference.
And if you need help along the way, check out RoleCatcher and their amazing resources.
They've got your back every step of the way.
That's it for our deep dive into the world of Customs and Excise Officers. We hope you found it helpful and maybe even inspiring.
We had a blast exploring this fascinating field with you, and we wish you the best of luck on your career journey.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep